Welcome, 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 welcome to the Law, Your Money, and You for another edition on our series with the coronavirus. I'm Roberta, Saphire, an attorney in Massachusetts.
And I'm Camille Barron, a healthcare advisor and financial coordinator, also in Massachusetts. And Roberta, it's so amazing that we've had quite a few episodes with young people and how well adapted they have become in making things work for them, even through the coronavirus.
Yes, that is interesting, especially the way you put it, because they're talking about these poor kids, yet maybe it's the ones we're lucky to interview, shows how innovative they are. And we have with us today Jenna Delatorre, and she's just beautiful. And she's in Arizona, and she goes to ASU, which is Arizona State. I think one of my boys went there for a year too. But we've had a few kids on from there, and she's a junior. But let her say, because she's so beautiful and she can get it across better than I can. Jenna, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, well, first, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to sit down and talk with you guys. So I'm a junior at Arizona State University. I'm studying broadcast journalism, and I think we've all kind of been thrown into this unknown time. We've had to figure things out. We've never been presented with the coronavirus before, so it's been a learning experience. But I'm very thankful to have been very busy throughout this time. I've been working, I've been managing school, I've had an internship, but it's kind of just how you are able to manage it all that I think says the most about how you can, how you're going to come out on the end of this virus.
Were you living in a dorm before or at home?
So I was living at an apartment, and I still am, but I know students have been, unfortunately, that have lived in the dorms have been kicked out of the dorms, or they've had to find other living situations, which has been very tough.
Well, tell us about the different things that you're involved in. You mentioned working, you mentioned school, and you mentioned an internship.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool doing this whole interview process because, I am going into the field of broadcast journalism, so it's all about communicating with people and interviewing. But first, I'm a student. I'm studying broadcast journalism and mass communication at the Walter Cronkite School of Broadcast Journalism at ASU. It's a long name.
Excuse me, Walter Cronkite was a great journalist on TV. That's interesting. I think, did his family set up that foundation, or did they just honor him with that?
So he worked, ASU, I believe, wanted to name the school in his honor. And then before he passed away, he worked with them closely, and he would come in and kind of help. He would give speeches.
Wonderful.
And everything. So yeah, it's an amazing program. I mean, the opportunities and just the staff and the faculty, they really want what's best for the students, and they're going to help you get there. I'm so thankful to have spent now 3 years, learning from some of the best in the nation. But yeah, so I go to school there, and back in March, everyone was put on to Zoom for classes. We didn't really know what was going to happen next, but as summer went on, we just, you just got to try to make life as normal as you can. So I still was working. I'm a nanny for a family. And so I spend a lot of time there. And then this summer, I also had the opportunity to intern at a TV station, which was an incredible experience. I'm still interning there. And, it's definitely been challenging to balance it all, but I think that remaining busy and keeping something that, I'm doing every single day it's really helped me get through this pandemic. I know people, they're spending a lot of time alone. They're spending a lot of time not doing stuff. And I know that can be very challenging, even mentally. So I'm very thankful to have kept busy and, remained on top of this.
You have so many different things going. I'd like to get back to the school and say, what was it like with Zoom? Did you see the other students? Are you still Zooming? I mean, how do they grade you? How do they set things? How do you do your homework?
So I think probably, one of the biggest, changes that we've seen is, having to adjust. This is our new classroom. So for me personally, I'm still in Zoom classes. I sit in Zoom from for like 6 hours a day. And, you know, it's completely different. You know, you're so used to having that social interaction. You're so used to learning hands-on, especially in a major with broadcast journalism. Like, you're constantly learning how to communicate with people. So now we're learning how to communicate with people, you know, over a camera. It's raised a whole new position of a digital journalist, reaching people digitally, reaching people through Zoom. But yeah, so I have done class now since last semester, all on Zoom. You know, my professor comes in and he tries to keep us as engaged as they can. But then everything that we do is all through different learning outlets on the computer. So we're constantly submitting homework through the computer, projects, everything. But it's been a very challenging time, but it's different and it's working. But
Do you see the other students while you're doing that? Do you see the others?
yeah, you can see their little heads, but I mean, it's just so different than when you're in class and you can work together. And, you know, we go in separate groups and we're still in like Zoom rooms, kind of like this, but it's, you
Zoom
know,
rooms.
yeah, little
Zoom
breakout rooms, but
Yeah,
it's,
Zoom rooms. Did you ever think you'd hear that? Zoom rooms.
yeah.
What about the internship? Can you tell us about that? What
Oh,
you're
yeah.
doing there?
Yeah, so the internship, I'm so thankful. I'm very lucky enough that my internship was in person. I know a lot of my friends and other colleagues have had to kind of also Zoom for their internships, but I was lucky enough. We're still following all CDC guidelines and wearing masks at all times, sanitizing, cleaning, taking the precautions we need. But I've been so thankful that I've been able to go in person and learn, you know, how broadcast works, how a TV show works, all in person, because it's that kind of stuff. Like, you can't learn that from textbooks. You can't. It's all about experience and that hands-on experience. So, you know, being able to be in there and check guests in and watch the show happen, because it's a live show that we do every day. So to see that kind of happen, I mean, it's an amazing experience, and I couldn't even imagine honestly doing it through Zoom because, you know, it's so there in the moment. But yeah, it's incredible. Right now, I'm doing my second session, interning at the TV show, which is awesome. Last semester I was production assistant, and then this semester I'm floor director assistant. So basically I'm helping with guests when they come into the show. I'm checking them in. I'm kind of like the creative director in the sense.
What kind of show is it?
So it's called the Arizona Daily Mix. It airs every morning, but it's just like a morning TV show. We kind of just focus on local businesses and just, you know, Arizona, different things happening. We interview different people from the community. But it's so much fun, you know, it's the cool thing about working in like news is that you're constantly engaging with stories and engaging with people that like you normally never would, which is why I love it, because I'm constantly learning something and learning about new people, new places every single day. So it's a really cool time.
You should
You
get
know,
these people, I was just telling you, you should get the people's business cards. So when you graduate, you have a whole list of contacts.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's great contacts too. I mean, you never know who you're gonna meet or who's gonna walk in that door, and you know, it's an amazing experience. You never know who you're
That'd be
gonna.
Camille and me of the Lion Money and You.
Yeah.
you know what? Interestingly, excuse me, when I was a student, I went to BU School of Communication. So I'm very familiar with some of the things you're talking about.
Yeah.
And one of the internships I had was at the local PBS station in Boston, WGBH. And the name of the show that I was an intern on was Zoom.
No
Oh
way.
my God.
Called Zoom.
Look at that now. That's funny.
What kind of show was that, Zoom?
It was a children's show.
You know something? I think I remember something like that.
Yeah, you probably do, because that would have been around the time that some of your children were young enough to watch it.
Oh, I thought maybe I watched it.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I know I didn't, so I don't think.
Oh, isn't that a riot? It says Zoom and Zoom. I
Now,
don't
if we
know.
were today, we'd be Zooming on Zoom.
Right.
Fascinating. Fascinating. They should have that back. I've ever
Yeah.
looked that up. There you go, Jenna. You can suggest to them a revising an old children's show.
And a new title. Yeah. I know. Well, that's funny. One of my best friends, actually, so at Cronkite, or the journalism school at ASU, we work with PBS. And so one of our floors in the building is dedicated to PBS. So one of my friends just completed her internship at PBS. So that's funny that you said that. But
What building
yeah.
is this? The building where you intern or your apartment building?
Oh no, this is our school building. So in downtown
Oh,
Phoenix, it's the
school building.
Cronkite Journalism School building, but we work with PBS, and so they have a whole floor, and it's cool. I mean, they're recording their shows right there on the floor, which is, I mean, it's awesome.
What a
Wow.
wonderful opportunity. Did you start out doing the journalism and communications?
Yes. So ever since high school, I knew that in high school, we're expected to kind of know exactly what field we want to go into. And it's like, we have no idea, but I knew that I loved talking to people. I knew that I loved, like writing and hearing stories. And, I wanted to like be a voice. And so I was like, okay, what can I do with that? And I knew that, journalism, I wasn't sure where I was going to end up in journalism, but I knew that that was an amazing opportunity to connect with people, to share stories. And I mean, I've been in it since this was now my 3rd year, and I love it. I love learning how to communicate more with people, how to get the message across. I mean, it's an amazing major. And I know that, news today is kind of seen as something that a lot of people can't trust, but I think as this new age of journalists, if we can, reconnect with people and regain that trust, I think it'll be a completely different landscape for journalism.
What do they have you? Do they have a list of the things they want you to do and take part of as an intern?
Yeah, so as an intern, it kind of depends day to day, who's in the show and whatnot, but my responsibilities typically are to help with pre-show production. So before the show, making sure our guests are ready, because we still have been having live guests on the show. We obviously don't have as many as we used to, but checking in guests, making sure their mic is on, getting them ready for showtime, and then during the show, making sure that everything runs smoothly. And then after the show, I do a lot of editing. I actually do a lot of Zooming because, we obviously can't interview or have as many people on the show right now. So we have to do a lot of Zooming and Skyping. So typically after the show, we'll do like 3 or 4 Zooms with different people, different guests. And then they'll be on the show following that. So, just.
Oh, do the guests follow a certain script, or is everything just off the cuff? Like
It's kind of, we try to kind of get a feel of like what they're going to say or what we're going to say. A lot of times people do send in scripts, but it's television. You never know what's going to happen, what they're going to say. So it's kind of, it's more, I would say that we go in with an idea, but like, you never know what personality or what story is going to come from it. So you just always got to be ready for something.
Are there any situations that came up where people didn't know what to do and you had to help smooth things, or some guests says, well, I wasn't supposed to talk about that?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, for sure. It's always funny. People who, haven't been comfortable like speaking in front of a camera, which it's awkward, you got to get used to talking to a camera and being okay with, knowing that you're on live television. But, we'll have guests come in and they're so nervous and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't do it. I'm always just like, it's a small studio when you're inside of it, but, knowing that you're on live television, that's a whole other thing. But I just always try to calm them down because you can tell, they're fidgeting or they're super nervous about to go on air. And you're just like, you got to tell them like, it's okay. Like just pretend like that camera's not there. You're just having a conversation. But I mean, just trying to help them calm down and find ease before they go on to live television it happens usually every week.
Right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What are the other questions here?
So you and your job, where you're really working, is to be a nanny with a family.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about that.
Tell us a little bit about that.
I just got one more question on that internship because I find that fascinating. Did you have to apply for that? Were there many people applying for that and you had to be interviewed?
Yeah, so I actually in a sense got lucky with the COVID thing. They hadn't gone out and interviewed because typically they would have already secured an intern for the summer, and I started probably reaching out to them in March. But they hadn't found an intern yet just because they didn't know with Corona, like what was going to happen, if they were going to even be able to have an intern. So once I was given their contact, I sent out an email to a bunch of Arizona stations and a bunch of Arizona radio stations and TV, just everything. And I just was like, hi, like, if there's any opportunity for me to learn from you, for me to intern, like, I would love the opportunity. You got some people didn't respond. Some people were like, no, I mean, it was hard with COVID too. A lot of places were like, we just don't know what's going to happen.
How many interviews did you have to go on? I want to show people that this was the easiest thing in the world, or you really worked for it, or of course with your smile and personality, it should have been easy.
Oh, thank you. No, I sent probably 7 or 8 emails to different companies just asking, like, is there any opportunity for me to learn from you? Like, can I get experience, or even just like, if you have any tips or like just anything, I'm sure you guys know it's a lot about networking as you grow up and you are working through your career, and just if you can talk to someone that can help you now or even down the road, like making those connections is so important. So, just I was sending out those emails like crazy. I wasn't hearing back from a lot of them, but I was lucky enough to hear back from AZTV, which is where I'm interning. And, we kind of talked back and forth. Like, he was like, at first, I don't know if we're going to have interns. I don't know where it stands. But as we continued talking, he was like, we'd love to have you come in. And it just kind of came from there. So I was lucky in the sense that, I wasn't necessarily going up against a lot of people, but it was also completely different because they didn't even know if they were going to have an intern due to COVID. But I was lucky enough to get that internship. But I've been in situations where I've interviewed against a lot of people, and you never know what exactly the person is looking for. So you just always have to go in there and just be prepared as you can. But like, you never know who who they're looking for to hire. So it's just always.
Who gave you the list of TV stations? Did you have to do that on your own, or did they help you?
No, so actually Alexis, she reached out to her media team and had them kind of put together a list of all the different media organizations that they work with for like commercials and just TV.
Okay, now you're getting into who the Alexis is, and we can get back to this.
The wonderful Alexis Breyer. She, so my boss for the nanny job, they work a lot with commercial and on air stuff. And so she was like, here's a list of all our media team. Like, I don't know if this will be any help, but if you just want to reach out to them and send emails and see like what opportunities. And I was like, I was so grateful for that, because it was just like, that was my first like foot in this, like my first in. And so from there I sent emails.
They have a whole media team, excuse me. This is different too with the coronavirus. What type of business is it that they have a media team?
Yes, so I work for 2 wonderful lawyers, Mark and Alexis, and they do a lot of on-air work with just commercials, and so they're familiar with the whole media.
Yeah, but it's the law office, the Breyer law office.
The husband-wife law team, yes.
My daughter,
very well known law firm.
And Mark Breyer, my son-in-law, the world king, we call him.
Yeah, no, they're the best. So they gave me contacts of people that I could reach out to, and I'm so grateful. Nice. It was even just like that connection, helped me so much with reaching out to people. But yes, so Mark and Alexis are my other bosses. They are amazing. I've worked for the family now for almost 2 years, which is crazy. But I nanny. There's 8 kids, which whenever I say that, people are like, "Oh my gosh, you nanny for 8 kids." Technically, I nanny for 5. I'd say I'm responsible for.
2 are older than you.
3 are older than me.
Oh, 3 are older than you now.
Tate's older than me by 2 weeks, and he'll never live it down. But
so you do more than a nanny. You're like an assistant, run around, little mentor for the kids.
Yeah, it's been such an incredible experience. Like this job, aside from any other job that I've ever had, it's like you're working directly with someone's life, and you're seeing that life change, and you're helping the kids grow and whatever they need. But it's been such an incredible experience just learning. I think I've grown a lot from the job too, because I've been presented with situations where I'm like, what do I do? Like, this is embarrassing. Like, how do I write a bill? Or like, how do I do different things? Like it's all about growing up and, I'm working directly with the kids. I'm working directly with other people. Like I'm helping. It's been I've grown a lot from this job. But yeah, I would say I cook for the kids. I drive the kids. I kind of help do
What
everything.
kind of meals do you make? I'm interested in.
Well, it's funny, when I first started working, I couldn't even make eggs. Like, I mean, it was horrible. It was like frozen food every night, chicken nuggets. The kids probably got really tired of that. But I can honestly say that in the almost 2 years that I've worked there, I've pretty much mastered steak, which has been one of my biggest accomplishments, just saying.
Let me ask you a question. How has your working for them differed? Is that the right word, Camille? Differed from before and after the coronavirus? How has the coronavirus affected your job with them? And because Arizona is one of the hot spots now, is it still?
Yeah, I mean, our numbers are definitely going down, but
that's good.
It was kind of like right after spring break. I know I came to work that next week, and it was just like a different world. The kids weren't in school. I wasn't in school. All their activities were getting stopped because before spring break, the kids, I mean, as you know, live a very busy schedule. Everyone's got dance, everyone's got football, everyone has like after school activities. They were constantly going. And so I was constantly going, driving them to different places, balancing schedules. It was very like quick pace.
Yeah, because when you say nanny, there's no babies there anymore. I think the youngest one is going to be 10 soon.
Right.
I think the older ones need the more attention.
Right.
I understand you're like a mentor to them too. You probably, I got this this the late, this one didn't give me, I didn't get into this and I tried out for it and I should.
Yeah. No, it's definitely been, and I think even with Corona too, because there was times where the kids were getting frustrated, like, oh, we want to do something, or and I mean, that's normal as kids. You want to go out and you want to play with your friends and you want to go to school and you want to be around people. But so when you say like mentoring thing, I try to remind them like we're all kind of in this mess together. Everyone in the world is feeling what you're feeling right now, and hopefully if we all do the right thing, you can be back with your friends and we can live that normal life again. But just trying to remain positive for them, because I think even kids, they struggle with the coronavirus and understanding it all kind of like we do. But we went from living very busy lives with the kids, dance every day, school every day, picking the kids up from school, then going to dance and football, whatever. And then it was like everyone in the house, like all 8 kids, me, mom, dad, like everyone in the house. And everyone is doing their own schedules in the house. So, dance is going on in 3 different rooms on Zoom. There's, school happening. Like it was crazy at first, honestly, when everyone was back in the house, but it was a different kind of crazy. It wasn't like we were out and about doing stuff. It was like everyone in the house was trying to manage their lives on Zoom and, do what they can.
It's funny. We had Mark and Alexis. The funny thing is I shouldn't give it away, but Alexis is her middle name. And,
oh, yeah.
And it was Laura Alexis, and her Hebrew name is Liba Alexandra, which means great love. So she was our first child, and I saw this name Alexis, and it meant from Alexander the great, great thing. And I thought, oh my God, is that wonderful? And she turned out to be wonderful. And look at you, she picks you wonderful. As a matter of fact, I want everybody to know that my grandkids call me Mima, and Jenna calls me Mima. So
I do.
They're very fond of Jenna. Jenna's really is more than a nanny. It's interesting. There are a lot of people today that do nanny, and the difference. Nanny used to be somebody who watched the kids when they're in diapers, but there's no diapers here. There's none of that. You have to be a friend. You have to be there. Does that help you with school at all?
Yeah, I mean, and exactly what you said with like friends. When I came into this job, like, I didn't know, I'd heard of the Briars and I'd heard of this family, but I didn't know them and I didn't know what I was honestly getting myself into. But I'm so thankful for, the friendships, the relationships, I never would have met you, and just so many friendships and relationships that I've created from this job.
They're very giving. They're very
Yeah,
giving.
thank you.
We require that.
And maybe it's my personality and just how I took on the situation, but I saw these kids and I was like, okay, I need to be their nanny, but at the same time, like, I wanted to be their friend. I wanted to learn more about them, and because you're spending so much time with them. I'm the kind of person that, like, I just automatically want to be, like, I take it personally. I just got so close with them, and I had so much, like, love and care for them and the whole family, and they really have become family to me, and I'm so thankful for my time there. And every day is a new adventure over there. You never know what's going to happen, but I'm very thankful to have them. And all of you.
We're nearing the end, and Camille and I wanted to wind up with that. A lot of people, like the high school kids, we talk about them getting into the college of their choice, and you're working towards the vocation of your choice. Is there an opportunity now that these people will hire you? I mean, how do you do that now? You're in your junior year.
Yeah.
You must be thinking of getting a permanent job. I don't know what you did, Camille, for that back then. I thought you would like to compare.
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, especially during the senior year, there was quite a bit of support at the school to help people find jobs. I mean, there were lots of leads that were given out, and even occasionally there would be a recruiter from the business coming.
What do they do with where you are, Jenna? Is this an opportunity for a full-time job there?
Yeah, so very similar to that. Obviously it was different when we were in person, but now we're having Zoom recruiter meetings. There's a whole Zoom, there's a whole career department at Cronkite. And they just help the students, like, they want to help the students find those jobs, find those internships. So every week they come up with a list of, like, hey, apply for this, or if you're interested in this, like, this might be a job for you, or we have recruiter visits. So they're awesome with connecting you with opportunities. And for me, I'm still interning at the station, but if I could secure a job there or just continue working or gaining experience, that would obviously be the goal. But over the next 2 semesters, I'm gonna spend some time working in what ASU and Cronkite call professional programs, which is basically where it's run actually through PBS, but it's a live newsroom, all run by students. And you have 2 semesters of that before you can graduate. But I mean, it's an amazing experience because you are in a real newsroom, and as students, you are producing a live newscast every day. And so once you do 2 semesters of that, then you can graduate. So hopefully next December, I'll be graduating. But if I could secure a job, whether it be at the TV station or just over the next 2 years, as I build these connections, I'm very excited to see where I'll end up.
Boy, well, with that, Camille can very happily wind up. Didn't I tell you, Camille, she would be interesting and fascinating?
It's even more than I expected.
Yeah.
Really,
well, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm very excited. I can't wait to see this.
It'll be great. You're definitely on the right path and doing the right things to make your future as bright as possible. It was lovely to meet you, and thank you so much. And thank you to our viewers. We try to keep the coronavirus, as serious as it is, we try to shed some positive light on it. And people like Jenna and some of the other folks that we've had can show us older people how to do the same thing. Please let us hear from you if you have any questions or ideas for the show, because remember, this is your show, the law, your money,
and you, all of you. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you for watching.